everybody. Shalom, welcome to this wonderful evening. We are really feel happy and younger than 2 hours before with this dance. I think we feel great. Okay, Menachem Perry, the host of this next session, was born in Germany in December 1946. From 1971 to 1974, he worked as a technician at Kol Israel, the country's public, domestic, and international radio service. He worked while studying law at the Hebrew University. In 1974, he trained as a radio broadcaster, a position he holds to these days. Even after his official retirement in 2013, during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Perry was also a TV presenter for Channel 1, Israel State's operate television station. During most of these days, this year, at Kol Israel, he managed their courses for new broadcaster and acted as a facilitator. From 2005 to 2009, Perry also managed the broadcaster department. During his entire career, he has been comparing various types of events, from official state ceremonies and memorial days to dancing competitions, sing-along evenings. At his home studio, he does voice recording for the business industry. For Menachem, broadcasting has always been a true passion, allowing him to express his love for the Hebrew language and connect his listeners. Let's please welcome Menachem Perry. It's an honor for us to be here.
Thank you so much. So now you know everything about me. I have to mention that I'm arriving to you from Jerusalem. It's the city I live in. And my wife is also sitting here between of you. I told her that in this place, only strong women have the right to be in this room. So she's also here. Hi, Nurit. Welcome. My daughter should be here on the stage. You saw this rhythm group, Beat for It? She is one of them. But she's not here today. She gave birth last month, so she is exercising at home. But a new baby, my grandson. That's a granddaughter. Okay. Now, English is not, by the way, my mother language. Even Hebrew. I'm an announcer on the radio in Hebrew, of course, but Hebrew is not either my mother language. I was raised on Yiddish. Yes. Till the age of 4, I didn't know another language, either of Yiddish, because my 2 parents are Yiddish. Well, they are not alive anymore, but Holocaust survivors that were speaking with me only in Yiddish. And you know what's funny? On the radio for the last 30 years, I'm teaching the Israelis the right Hebrew. Rega shel Ivrit. You can, on Reshet Bet. So now, welcome everybody. Really, I'm so honored to be at the Wizo 26th EGM. For me, Wizo is an amazing organization that embodies the best of Jewish values and the best of what women have to offer our people and our country and our world. On a personal note, Wizo is close to my heart. My parents were Holocaust survivors and met at a DP camp where I was born. As I was researching Wizo's history, I discovered that Wizo reconstituted its activities after the Shoah in the DP camps. They set up kindergartens, helped pregnant women, and helped heal the terrible scars of the Shoah. They did this across all the DP camps, so I'm personally grateful. Today, we are here to showcase 6 wonderful and inspiring women, each with their own story, ideas, and ways they are contributing to making Israel and the Jewish world a better and a more fair place. As a father and grandfather and husband, I believe that women possess the talent to be the true agents of change. And the women you will meet today are already making important strides in making those changes in Israel and around the world. Well, the first speaker, or our first speaker, showcases for us the best of Israeli innovation. She is a successful Israeli entrepreneur who is getting to the top by making her own rules. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Revital Hendler, please.
Well, let's start with a simple mental exercise, okay? Please close your eyes. I promise I won't judge if you fall asleep. After all, we're after lunch. So close your eyes. And I want you to picture a businesswoman. Now, how many of you, and raise your hands, picture her with a tight suit, high heels, straight hair, yeah, non-compromising, very tough, maybe no kids, maybe not even a husband, why, or a close au pair? Well, a lot of you raising hand right now. Now, open your eyes and tell me, and let's be frank, how many of you pictured her as someone like me? 1, thank you. Well, you're right, actually. We were programmed and taught to believe that this is how a businesswoman should look like. Well-groomed, non-compromising, very tough lady. Let's admit it, a bit manly. Actually, numbers are talking for themselves. 33% of women who assume senior position in the United States don't have kids. This enormous number rises up to 42% if we're looking at successful women in corporate America. Don't have kids, 42%. Furthermore, in a study made by Northwestern University, an enormous majority stated that women in the workplace becoming more and more manly. So I guess the only conclusion is if you're a woman and you want to move up the ladder, you have to be this alpha woman and take those manly attributes. Well, this is very unfortunate for me because as you all saw, nobody raised the hands, only one. And furthermore, I'm not that strong. You can just ask my personal trainer. I'm not that tough. Just one look at my kids and you know I'm not tough. I'm far away from silent and strict. My husband will love to complain about that all day long. I hate high heels and tight suits. I never wear them. But worst of all, really, let's talk business. I don't have straight hair. I lost the competition already. You know, recently, Globes magazine, it's a business magazine here in Israel, very huge, did an article about me, and guess what they asked me to do when the picture time came? To blow dry my hair straight. I mean, come on, people. Haven't curly people suffered enough? We don't need more. Yeah. So, nevertheless, in the age of 29, I founded All Jobs, together with a group of amazing investors. It soon became, after a lot of hard work, from $300,000 investment to the leading job portal in Israel, competing the fearless and biggest companies here in Israel, and revolutionized completely the way people search for a job here in Israel. At the age of 33, an international company bought substantial amount of shares of all jobs at a little under $18.5 million, which gave 6,000% profit on my investors' money. I did the math for you because it's a really hard math. 6,000%. I was the CEO for 7 years. I employed 250 people. And since I retired from all jobs, I co-founded 2 more startups. One of them, Brizometer, announced the most promising startup in the world for 2014, and was presented to Obama, to President Obama in the White House and in the UN. Since Brizometer, I'm also already the president of another amazing startup that is helping brands becoming a community, bringing all its crowd to a community for one good purpose. And this startup already raised $2.5 million. So, yeah, well, I guess it's okay for a curly woman, right? Curly woman, after all. I was also selected to be one of the 50 women that are most influential this year. And once again, I didn't blow dry my hair straight. Thank you. But nevertheless, I totally understand why you didn't raise your hand when I asked you if you picture me as a businesswoman. And you don't even know me that much to realize how far I am from this businesswoman stereotype. I mean, I'm highly sensitive. I cry a lot. I'm a very spiritual person. I really believe in goodness and in giving. And worst of all, I believe we're one. I truly believe we're one. I'm over nice when it comes to people. Literally, it sounds more like a Desperate Housewife profile than the Sharks, right? I wasn't even a math whiz at high school, or I didn't serve A200 in the army. I didn't study anything technological or technical. Actually, I'm a film and television university graduate. And people who knew me from high school mainly remember me like that. I really loved the exercise we did. I was a dancer. I don't know what happened, but I'm telling you the truth. I was terrified myself when I thought myself to run a business. I should run a business at the early days of all jobs. But back then, I thought it will be a small business. I will operate from home, so it was okay even for me. But then the business grew rapidly under my management. And then I thought, well, we soon have enough money to bring this hotshot persona, business persona, real persona, that will run the business, and I will step aside. But then the business grew even more rapidly under my management. After 7 years, I retired, and finally I had the time to go to a therapist. And she asked me a question that, for the first time in my life, I'm telling you, left me speechless. She asked me, what made your success? I was like, I don't know. I mean, all the things I've been taught that are good for business, I didn't have. I wasn't too confident of myself. I didn't have a special talent. I'm not tough. I'm not like a rough negotiator. I'm not any of this. I really don't know. What was it, merely luck? But she was very persistent, so we started the journey together, and we came up with 8 traits that led me to succeed. And I want to share 3 of them today with you because we don't have time for the all 8. The first one is being too nice. Well, people always told me I have to be tough, in the business world, otherwise I'll be eaten alive. But I remember this leading industry, this person who led the industry, and he had a system for sorting CV. So he had a system for sorting CV, I had a rising job portal. It seemed like a very good corporation. So I called him, we set up a meeting, and I went to his fancy office. Now, before I even sat down the chair, he told me, I need to tell you, we're going to compete with you, and there's no doubt we're going to win. Did I mention he was a man? So I guess a real businesswoman or a man would just tell him to go and leave. But I was too nice and too polite to do that, so I just entered the office and sat down. And he was telling me all about how flawed my strategy was. and how he's going to be exactly the opposite. He kept on talking and talking, trying to make me fear, but along the way, revealing all his strategies, allowing me and my team be completely prepared for his launch. 1.5 years later, he was gone from the market. Yeah. So being too nice is bad for business. The second trait is being too motherly. You know, I was always this mother figure long before I had kids of my own. And it seemed like a business character flaw I should leave out of the office, right? But you know, I just couldn't do it. It didn't work out for me because business meetings with me were always too long. They always dealt with this personal aspect, a lot of feeling stuff. You know, I shared my feelings, they shared their feelings. I remember tons of times when I stood up and went around the table and hugged people that were crying in my office. People always told me, hey, be efficient. You need to make these meetings faster. We don't have time for this crap. Just hire mature and adult people that can handle this stuff. Well, but you know, businesses sometimes have rough situations. And I remember one particularly, the one that happened in 2008 when Lehman Brothers collapsed. And the international company that bought us called me and told me, we have to sell the company, otherwise we won't survive. They sold the company in one day to our biggest enemy, to the big newspapers, to the big newspaper that not only was fearless and very brutal as a competition, but also sued us in the court of law. So now I have to come to the 250 employees of mine and tell them that the company they're working in is going to be sold. And back then, the international company already bought 75% of all jobs. So 75% of the ownership of all jobs will be transferred to our biggest enemy. There was a lot of uncertainty in the air. I didn't have answers to a lot of the questions. But you know what? Were the times when the bonding between a mother and the children saved me. Because literally, we could cry together, we could hug together, we can be together, and not one employee left the company through quite a long period of time of uncertainty. So being too motherly is bad for business. The third trait is being too sensitive. Well, I was always blamed with my high sensitivity, even in my personal life. A lot of my friends, my loved friends, told me that I have to toughen up in this cold business world, otherwise I'm doomed. So I remember Chaim. Chaim was an old dog in the arena of advertising jobs. He controlled 99% of the market. I'm talking about millions of shekels each month that he can transfer like this from one big newspaper to the other. And he did it one day just because one big newspaper pissed him off. So I wanted just one thing for him. I want him to transfer all the advertisers to all jobs where they would get much better results with less money. But you know, it's a lot of work to transfer advertisers from the newspaper to an internet, so why should he do it? And also, why should he do it for me? You know how sensitive people recognize other sensitivity in other people? I saw that Chaim, with all his harsh experience, is offended. He was hurt because all the big newspapers, because they were so afraid of him, they constantly made him feel small. It's like the first rule in business school, right? Make them feel small. And they did. So he was unheard and unrespected. And I was just this over-curly, too nice, too motherly businesswoman that had time to listen to him, that wasn't afraid to come across as someone who has something to learn. Soon we became very good friends and very good partners, and a lot of the business was transferred from the newspapers to all jobs. So being too sensitive is bad for business. I came to the conclusion that a lot of those criteria, a lot of these characteristics that people always told me that are not belong in business actually led me to my success. And I now realize that a lot of women out there who are not this businesswoman type, you know, they're too nice, too motherly, too something, too women to be in the business world. It's just, I used to believe this, so they do too. Why should we play by someone else's rules? Why can't we win by our own rules? The fact that so many women out there think they are not belong in business is not just their loss, it's the society's loss. So I urge you to embrace all your traits, even those ones you've been constantly told do not belong in business. Thank you.